Hey, True Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this post, I want to talk about the June 30th Indonesia plane crash that reportedly killed 122 people on the plane and 20 people on the ground for a total of 142 deaths. It is connected to the plane crash, the Germanwings crash of March 24th, where the suicidal pilot flew the plane into the Alps. And it's also connected into the plane crashes that came before that, including MH17 in Ukraine, as well as the missing Malaysian plane of March 7th or 8th, depending on where you were in the world, 2014. That plane was said to have 239 passengers. At the time, it was a number that mystified me, but now that I see these recent plane crashes are connected to the upcoming date of September 23rd, I'm putting it all together and I'm seeing what is all being foreshadowed for that time period around September 23rd. If it's not that day, it's going to be in close proximity. September 28th, 2015 is the final of the 4 blood moons that have occurred during the 2-year period of time. We're going to break it all down. Let's start by watching this mainstream news coverage and track the similarities from this to the date of September 11th. At least I see some in this news footage. We'll see what you see. Here we go.
Mr. Sulkifli has just confirmed to us that 37 body bags have now been brought into.
She starts with the number 37. That's not what they're reporting anymore, but 37. It was MH370 that disappeared March 2014.
The Adam Malik Hospital in Medan. Now, he wouldn't say, though, that there were 37 bodies in these bags. He just said there were 37 body bags. Then this means that there may be more or less than the number of casualties based on that. What we know is that the C-130 Hercules plane crashed about 2 minutes after taking off from the Suwondo Air Force Base in Medan, North Sumatra. This is near a residential area. And from the pictures we're seeing on local TV right now, it seems to have crashed into a row of buildings or shop houses. Now, eyewitnesses have said in local media as well that the buildings had just been constructed. Many of them were still unoccupied, but there were people.
So the buildings were just constructed. That reminds me of September 11th, where the plane that hit the Pentagon hit the section of the Pentagon that had just finished being remodeled. I mean, what are the odds?
On the ground. And that's probably why we're seeing, unfortunately, more body bags being brought into the hospital. Max.
What do we know about who was on board and what the mission was?
Well, the military spokesman told us earlier that there were about 12 military personnel on the plane. It was bound for the remote islands of Natuna to bring in logistical supplies to military personnel stationed there. However, it's not unusual here in Indonesia for civilians and maybe family members.
I mean, does that look like a plane crash, Truth Seeker?
Members or passengers to hitch a ride on military planes like this one, and there are unconfirmed reports that there may be more people who were on board the plane as well. We are still trying to confirm that with military officials right now. Information is still very, very hard to come by. The main focus is trying to clear the wreckage of the plane and try to identify perhaps the bodies that have been brought into the hospital and see if there are any chances of any survivors at this point.
All right, Truth Seeker. One last comment about this video. I mean, now we see some military or police-looking people, but the video was just showing groups of men mostly standing around doing nothing. And I think oftentimes in this footage we're showing scenes of drills or some volunteer response. Something just doesn't make sense about this imagery that we're showing oftentimes in these hoaxalicious incidents. Also, a lot of orange, the only 33 color. So, with regards to 122, it's a number being coded into many things right now, from Confederate flag to Pope Francis to Rachel Dolezal to Golden State. Notice that San Francisco is on the 122nd meridian west. It also has a gematria of 122. And in the Andreas Lubitz plane crash, he was shown over and over in the mainstream media in front of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, even though the plane crash was in the Alps. A seemingly random photo to show. With regards to Golden State, I just want to show you it also has that gematria of 122. This is what we're going to connect this to is the September 23rd visit of Pope Francis, 122, who has the who's the 266th Pope, and he's visiting on the 266th day of the year, September 23rd. All right, so get this, Truth Seeker. Everything this year is connected to Lupercalia, this ancient Roman festival on the 44th day of the year that has Pythagorean gematria of 44, Simple English 98. Everything this year is being measured and coded with Lupercalia numbers. Notice that the two plane crashes, the Andreas Lebed's happened on March 24th. The Indonesian plane crash happened June 30th. This is a span of 98 days. 98 days. The Germanwings crash happened on a date with 42 numerology. This plane crash, supposedly 142 people died. If you write out 42 in Summit, it sums to 142. The word terrorist also has a gematria of 142. It's one of these other significant numbers. But yes, 122 is a hot number. Pope Francis coming on September 23rd, the date of Yom Kippur, possibly the most important Jewish holy day. Little excerpt from the CNN saying 122 people dead, 12 were military, 110 were passengers. And here's a great kicker. It took off from Sowando Air Force Base, which has Pythagorean gematria 95 with the S exceptions 113. Remember the words mainstream, green screen, dishonest, all sum to 113, a number so often coded into the hoaxes. In this case, the plane supposedly took off from there. What it looked like to me was some already wrecked debris and maybe a bomb in a building. And then maybe a drill photo op to go with it. You know, they could have done that in a part of town that's deserted. Who knows? So many ways they could pull off the visuals they're giving us. Heaven forbid a green screen's even involved. So with regards to Lupercalia, which we're talking about, and the NBA Finals, I want to show you what was going on this year. The Golden State Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers met for the last time in the regular season February 26th. In this game, LeBron James had his season high of 42 points. Turns out both teams, Golden State and Cleveland Cavaliers, retired the number 42 for Nate Thurmond. Anyway, from the date they met to the date the NBA Finals began, June 4th, 2015, was a span of 98 days, or 3 months and 9 days. The Germanwings crash came 39 days after the beginning of Lupercalia, February 13th. So 98. And game 1 of the NBA Finals went to overtime with a score of 98-98. Tie ball game, overtime. Whole lot more to it. If you want to see my videos on the NBA Finals, please watch them. But it gets better. From February 13th to June 4th, February 13th is the date of Lupercalia, the 44th day of the year, to June 4th was a span of 111 days or 3 months and 22 days. And get this. The NBA Finals in gematria sums to 322 Jewish, 111 Simple English. These same numbers. Lupercalia, 98. And notice how Lupercalia also has that Jewish connection to 399. 39 was the number of days from the Germanwings crash to Lupercalia, March 24th to February 13th. Lupercalia on the 44th day in Pythagorean gematria sums to 44, the kill number. The Germanwings crash happened on the 44th parallel. So get this. They put out more information about the pilot who supposedly crashed that day. His full name is Andreas Lebed's, which has gematria of 89, and with the S exception, 98, these same numbers, the guy who supposedly crashed the plane. He's from this 33 town in Germany, a number they love to code. Died at age of 27, common age of death, especially for rock stars with life numbers of 27. But it's worse than that, Truth Seeker. Here's that image of him in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. This is the pilot of the Germanwings crash, the crash that happened 98 days before the Indonesian plane crash we're talking about or started with. His birthday, December 18th, to the date he died, March 24th, is exactly 96 days. San Andreas, the fault line that runs through by San Francisco, sums to 96, and the Golden Gate Bridge, which he's sitting in front of, has Pythagorean gematria of 96. The movie San Andreas would come out 66 days after this incident. And that is interesting because the USGS, which measures earthquakes, which San Andreas has a lot to do with, also has gematria of 66. Last year, the earthquake in San Francisco came 66 days before they won the World Series. World Series has gematria of 66, also in San Francisco. So here's something that's real condemning to Truth Seeker for the region and the Golden Gate Bridge. This picture is from April 4th, 2013. 13 has a numerology of 4, so you could say 444. Obama's the 44th president, elected 44 years after the Civil Rights Act, which the face of was Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated on April 4th. This year, we had the shooting of Walter Scott in South Carolina on April 4th, the 47-year anniversary of the MLK assassination. Once upon a time in history, the Twin Towers were opened on April 4th, 73. We'll be talking about 37, the reflection of 73, but 44, a fateful number. In this case, he flew in on chopper Marine 1, which has a gematria of 49. San Francisco 49ers, number of revelation. And get this with regards to September 23rd. Golden Gate has a gematria of 239, Truth Seeker. 239. In a lot of parts of the world, they'll write the date September 23rd with the day first, so that's 23/9. Look at Obama grinning from ear to ear. He probably knows the game plan. Wonder where he'll be. Wonder where he'll be on the big day. Here's another kicker, Truth Seeker. This story came out at the end of last year, December 2014, about the crash of a boat like the Titanic near where the Golden Gate originally was. What's interesting is the date it happened on, February 22nd, 1901. 222 as an important number in this study. From Lupercalia to the Pope's visit is exactly 222 days. That was foreshadowed in the Philadelphia train crash. Amtrak equals 222 in Jewish gematria. But notice that this date also has a numerology of 44, like the date the 44th president was grinning from ear to ear there. Also a numerology of 17, the word kill in Pythagorean 17, simple English 44. Here's that movie, San Andreas, True Seeker. I was saying it came out 66 days after the Andreas Lubitz incident. Came out on a date with 49 numerology. Came out on the 149th day of the year. The song in the trailer was 49 years old from the Mamas and the Papas. I think there was a few other things. I did a video on it if you want to go back and check it out. The helicopter in that movie is number 121, the number of revelation. The signs, Truth Seeker. The Golden Gate Bridge, longest span, 4,200 feet. Construction began in 33. Construction ended on the date of the first casualty of the Civil War, April 19th, which happened in Baltimore, in the year 37. 37. Opened May 27th, 37, now 78 years ago. This post is months old. Marin County's got some special gematria, Truth Seeker. See my video on the Vesica Piscis and 153. Lots of important information. Too much to talk about now. But yeah, this Malaysian Air Flight 370, which lost 239 passengers, it is directly connected to this upcoming date. Let's just break it down, Truth Seeker. So it disappeared in the United States on March 7th, which is the 66th day of the year. But local time, it disappeared at 1:19 in the morning, March 8th, which is the 67th day of the year. And remember, the Golden State Warriors had 67 wins this year. West has a gematria of 67. 67 has been huge. In the boxing match, Manny versus Mayweather, it was all about 67. That happened on May 2nd. The point is the date this happened on is become something that's even more significant today. 67 is being coded oh so much. The numbers of revelation, Truth Seeker, are 49, 67, 121. These are Pythagorean gematria, and one with V exception. Simple English gematria. English gematria. and Jewish gematria. And if you think this is a joke, bear with me. New York's establishment date is 7/26/1788. New York is the 11th state, right? If you sum 1 through 11, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to 11, 1 through 11 equals 66. Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible, right? And right now I'm talking about the numbers of Revelation. So New York, Revelation, get this. New York's establishment date, notice July 26, 726 is just like Revelation in English gematria. But if you throw in the 88 and do this way for numerology, that's fair, 7 plus 26 plus 88, it sums to 121. So it has multiple Revelation codings. Revelation's also based on the first 39 books of the Old Testament, and almost everything in New York is coded with 39, from the name to the abbreviation to the landmarks to also the establishment date. 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 sums to 39. So much coding in New York, the state, and the date of establishment. And with regards to New York, think of the last big event that terrorized this nation, the Twin Towers. Twin Towers sums to 49 in gematria and was approved by 49th Governor Nelson Rockefeller, proposed by David Rockefeller, his relative. So numbers of Revelation, important coding. Now here in this story, we have a plane disappearing on the 67th day, a number connected. It went off air traffic controllers at 121, a lot like 121. Are you seeing it? Okay, so we got those points established. It's said to have had 239 people on board. Again, in a lot of parts of the world, they write the day before the month, so September 23rd is a lot like 23-9. And they said it had 227 passengers. If you divide 22 by 7, you get the number pi, having to do with circles and cycles. And these news stories are circles and cycles being ran against us. We think they're random stories presented to us as they happen in the real world, but instead they're staged events foreshadowing future spectacles. This is what our news is truly all about. So this flight was flight 370, right, Truth Seeker? Flight 370. In Revelation 3:7, it's about the Church of Philadelphia. And earlier this year, there was an Amtrak crash in Philadelphia. Philadelphia comes from Revelation in the Bible, the name. Amtrak has a Jewish gematria of 222. Remember, from Lupercalia to September 23rd is 222 days. Here's Revelation 3:7, corresponding with possibly MH 370. To the Church of Philadelphia, to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open. Now, Truth Seeker, the Bible can be interpreted all sorts of ways. But I think no matter who reads this, so long as they understand the language, will take away that this is signifying something very powerful. What he opens, no one can shut. And what he shuts, no one can open. I'll point this out about Key of David. It has this gematria of 102, which is very pertinent to this country, which seems to be made entirely in a reflection of the book of Revelation. If you read Revelation, the numbers that stand out the most are 7 and 4, much like this nation's birthday. I've covered that in a number of posts. Please search and watch. One more thing with regards to Revelation in 37. This plane disappeared over the Andaman Sea, which has gematria of 28. That's a typo. 28 and 37. That number 37 again. Bible has gematria of 21. Revelation, the final book of the Bible, at least in most versions. So, Truth Seeker, like I said, this stuff mimicking the Bible, plane crashes. Do you remember the plane crash of MH17 in Ukraine? This plane that crashed on July 17th last year, 2014, first flew July 17th, 1997, 17 years to the day, right? Get this all lined up here, Truth Seeker. Make sure I present this right. It's been a while. Okay, so this plane first flew July 17th, 1997, and then crashed July 17th, 2014, 17 years to the day. It was the 84th Boeing 777 ever produced. The 84th. And why that's trippy is because in the Bible, Genesis 8:4 says, "And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Arafat." Think about this. This plane came to crash on the 7th month, 17th day, 17 years to the day of first flying. From the Malaysian plane crash to the reporting of this crash was exactly 132 days, or 33 times 4, another very significant number. The first one of these Boeing 777s ever to fly was June 7th, 6-7, like how it disappeared on the 67th day of the year, which also happens to be International Women's Day, and the word female equals 67 in Jewish gematria. So, Truth Seeker, these people are mimicking the Bible. That's the point. Using these numbers over and over. With regards to 84, the name Obama equals 84 in Jewish gematria. His birthday's August 4th. United States of America in Pythagorean gematria equals 84. The word Savior also has a gematria of 84, which is kind of scary. He might be the savior of the Illuminati. We'll see. But yeah, Truth Seeker, this is what's really going on. Indonesian plane crash, Germanwings plane crash, MH370 missing Malaysian plane. They're doing all of these incidents by the numbers. And there's even more numbers than I first reported. We talked about the 444. Now I'm remembering something. The missing Malaysian plane was first reported at the 444th minute of the day. That's when they first made the report that it was missing. The parent company did. And in the more recent missing plane, it disappeared at the 444th minute of the day. You remember that one? We didn't even talk about it. The more recent missing plane story. That disappeared at the 444th minute of the day. We saw Obama was posing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge on a 444 numerology day. So we got to wake up, Truth Seeker. These stories aren't real. They're all part of a coded hoax that's foreshadowing the head of this agenda. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.